And to speak more about this, we're joined by a specialist offender profile, forensic criminologist, and CEO of Cybareti, Laurie Pieters-James. A very good evening to you, Laurie. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Good evening to you and to your viewers, and it's only a pleasure to be here.
So, Laurie, I remember very clearly the last time you spoke, you were adamant that, this country is so rotten to the core that, you don't expect anything good out of that we're doomed. Does this give you hope?
Well, it gives me a little bit of hope. Look, the government was backed into a corner here, so they really have had no alternative but to save face and to act. And I think this has been a fantastic motivating factor. There will be these sacrificial lambs from this Madlanga Commission, but I'm very sure that there's where we arrest one, there are three waiting to take his place.
So the ones that have been arrested, the sacrificial
Mm-hmm.
lambs, as you call them, are they a good pick?
I think so. It's a good start. Obviously, I think there will be more arrests as things come to light and surface. But at least we are now targeting and sort of demanding some accountability from the higher ranked officials. And I mean, what we've got here is a general, a couple of brigadiers, a couple of colonels, and a captain. So it's all the higher ranking officers. And if we can start to instill some sort of top-down accountability, I think that would go a long way to start the process of reversing the systemic and endemic corruption that is evident in our justice system. So any move at the moment, I think, is a good move.
I mean, it almost sounds like a fruit basket just listening to hear you talk, a general, a couple of brigadiers. But I want to look at these specific individuals. I mean, you spent years profiling complex offenders. Are they at the top enough first? The saying is that a fish rots from the top at the head. Are we close enough? Are we at the neck? Obviously, we're not at the very top because then...
We're not.
I mean, yeah. So just how close to where we need to be in terms of accountability are we? And let's look at these particular offenders, how they would have gotten here. And is it the system that corrupted them, or are we just saying that there's not enough quality screening of individuals who work for the police force?
Amusingly, one of the people arrested was the head of quality of SAPS. So that is quite an
Telling.
interesting one. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so you know what the problem for me is that there needs to be more due diligence and more lifestyle audits going into the prior to the appointment of these people. They should be very heavily screened. And what's evident also out of this is that there is no due diligence going into appointing these individuals. And as such, we're getting people appointed to positions that they really shouldn't hold. They're not qualified to hold. They shouldn't be there. And it's a giant mill, so to speak, because you've got another 10 waiting to take their place. And until we start looking at the proper qualifications, the proper due diligence before these people are appointed, we're also not going to solve the problem, because we've effectively taken 12 or however many we end up taking out of the system. We'll take them out. But who's waiting in the wings to replace them? And unfortunately, when you look at who's arrested, a lot of these people are appointed by the president. So ultimately, we have to look at our commander-in-chief and who he's appointing. Because if you look at the track record of the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of Police, they don't have a particularly good track record. And that's why I say you have to look from the top down. And the example has to be set from the top down.
But I want to look
and this is
at
where
the
it's going to be
mechanics firstly, before we look at the president's involvement, because obviously, as we mentioned, as we launched into this conversation, that these are almost mid to low level officials. But I want to look at the vetting that takes place for policemen. What type of tests are done? I know there are psychometrics, etc., but do they meet the challenge of a culture, an internal culture that is not conducive to, should I say, honest service? Because in some cases you hear, and I'll use the Department of Home Affairs, and I'm sure many people can attest to this. It's been said many a times that the level of high level, kingpins that have their hands in the pie at, Department of Home Affairs makes even people who are innocent feel scared about doing the right thing. So let's look at the type of vetting that is done for police officers, and does it meet, is it fit for purpose, so to speak?
It's really not. And, a lot of these positions, there is no vetting going on. And I take you back to where some of the major problems originated, and that was when they drafted pre-World Cup. So they took in thousands of officers with no vetting whatsoever, and many of these officers remain in the police force. Many of them have criminal records. Many of them entered with criminal records because there was no vetting done in prior to the World Cup when they surged the numbers for the World Cup. So that's also a problem. And a lot of the time, these appointments are jobs for friends, and there's no vetting done. It's cater deployment again on a massive scale. And once a general appoints somebody or says he wants somebody appointed, human resources at a captain level is not going to go against him. So unfortunately, a lot of these corrupt individuals actually escape the vetting process completely. But what needs to also happen on the vetting side is a lifestyle audit, because a lot of these people are appointed into the police in order to facilitate the commission of crime. And this is specific in the procurement divisions. And this is not just the police. This is Home Affairs, as you say. All the white-collar crime originates in the procurement divisions and in these panels that sit. So prior to being appointed to any panel, there should be an extensive lifestyle audit and extensive due diligence done on that individual. And that includes a social media screening, because these guys are a little bit silly. They post their wealth on Facebook, and if it doesn't align to the salary, it should be looked at. And, this is something that is not currently being done inside of SAPS, or in fact, inside of most government departments.
Mm. Thank you very much, Laurie, and I hope at some point we do talk about the extended arm of government just in terms of financial management, because I do understand that at some level it is centralized. So what is failing? If we were saying that people, you spoke about lifestyle audits, but meritocracy is something that President Cyril Ramaphosa came into this tenure with, saying that he is going to professionalize the police. Is there evidence that that is happening at all? Thank you so much for speaking to us. Much appreciated. Laurie Pieters is a criminologist and also, as I mentioned, a profiler.